Yay! We are live! Hello, 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 my beautiful, beautiful goddess. I have missed you. I have missed you. I have missed you. I have missed you. Wait, let me close some windows here. Don't start acting up, Facebook. I'm going to close the windows. Okay. Let us talk. Yes, happy Sunday, Goddess Allison. I'm sending you deep, deep hugs in your part of the world. How are you? How are you? How are you? Yay, Goddess Dawn is here. Greetings, gorgeous Goddess Dawn. Welcome to Goddess Temple Sunday. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what part of the world you are in. My beautiful, beautiful sisters, let's get this party started. Today, we are talking in Goddess Temple Sunday about moving out of being your own worst enemy. Goddess Diana is here checking in from London. Hello, my love. Yes. And Goddess Neith is here. Greetings, beautiful Goddess Neith. All right. So has anyone been familiar at any point in their lives with being your own worst enemy? Actually, you know what? Wait. Rewind, reverse. Because we need to start with joy, actually. We'll get to all of that. We will get to all of that. Let's start with joy, right? That's where we need to start. So, Goddess Allison, give me a number between 1 and 11. Let's pull a card. We are so grateful to be here on this beautiful Sunday, basking in the energy of each other, basking in the energy of the divine, and we are going to make shift happen. Yes, that is how we begin. We begin with gratitude. We begin with grace. We begin with surrender. That is the way to get a party started. Yes. Okay. Now we feel the shift. Now we feel the energy. Yes, Goddess Shanita. Yes. So excuse me for just walking into the room without acknowledging grace and the divine. Yes, Goddess Neve. Yes, for joy. Good morning, Goddess Danielle. All right. So Goddess Allison pulled the number 4 for us, and we're pulling from, where's the light? Oh, my We're Manifesting Goddess Affirmation card. So we're Manifesting Goddess Affirmation cards, and we are pulling the number 4. All right, here we go. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And our intention is grace, gratitude, surrender, joy. Yes, okay. So I'm going to split the deck. And the card on the top is Bonadea, who is an Italian goddess. And the word here is intuition, Goddess Allison. Intuition. So there is something that we know that we need to know that perhaps we have been ignoring. And the affirmation is, I trust my inner wise woman. My instincts are connected to my true purpose. I trust my inner wise woman, and my instincts are connected to my true purpose. Ah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Goddess Keisha is here also from the UK. Greetings, Goddess Keisha. Yes. Okay, so let's start off. We're starting off from a point of joy. What are you able to show off about this week? Let's start off from a place of showing off. What are you excited about? Goddess Allison says, yes, I'm about to cry. I needed that. Oh, my love. I will make sure that I post the card in the Facebook Goddess group. If you're not there, join us at imanifestmagic.com. Yes, it made me tear up as well. Yes. As a matter of fact, let me read it one more time. Intuition, I trust my inner wise woman. My instincts are connected to my true purpose. Because so many times we feel disconnected, or we feel like, I don't know if I'm on the right path or in the right purpose, right? It feels like, okay, well, I know that I want this thing or these things, and I've put them on my vision board, and I feel like I'm showing up for myself, but you feel like, okay, well, but am I on the right track? Am I on the right, purpose? And that's where, having faith comes in us trusting, you know, like the term literally leap of faith, trusting. That gap is the trust. That gap is where you have to say, okay, if I was given these thoughts, these desires, these wants, then they are there for a reason. And trusting, having that faith that, okay, yes, I am on the right path and I am being guided and the guidance is coming to me. I may be just choosing not to see it, but the guidance is absolutely there. It is absolutely there. So what is going right in your lives this week? What are you able to celebrate? What are you able to be grateful for? What are you able to show off about, to brag about, to say, yes, here is what is working in my life? Yes, before we get into what's not working, because that's how we operate our lives so much of the time, right? And I made that error in coming into the room today. We're like, what's wrong? You know, or how are you doing? And people, you say, how are you? And everybody tells you all their problems. Oh, girl, this happened, and the dog this, and the man left, and you know, the boss did this, and whatever. Let's start with what is right, what is working. Goddess Kenny says, I've been catching the replays of Goddess Temple Sundays for months now. It's the first time she's live. Yes, Goddess Kenny's in the house. Goddess Kenny's in the house. Yes, Grand Rising, Goddess Giovanna. Yes, and that is an answer. I said, what is working in your life? Goddess Giovanna said, everything. Everything. Beautiful. Beautiful. Goddess Diana says, I went live on Facebook for the first time last week. One of her fears ticked off. That is beautiful. We give you hugs, love, and respect for that. It is so powerful, the power of just showing up. You know, these things like loom large sometimes on our to-do list or our mental to-do list. And sometimes it's a 5-minute conversation that can be on your mental to-do list for years and years. So you going live on Facebook for the first time is magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Goddess Neith says, I'm letting my warrior speak this month. Yes, it's been a beautiful unfolding into living authentically in the present moment. Yes, a walk of intuition. Oh my goodness. Goddess Neith, you are in for something magical, because Goddess Neith is one of my Belize goddesses. She's coming with on the Goddess Pray Love Belize retreat. And so Goddess Neith, put in your schedule Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are free, we're having a digital Belize welcome party. And actually anybody can come. Digital Belize welcome party. We'll do it on Facebook. Well, we'll do it on Facebook. We'll figure it out. The link is in the comments to be able to join the digital welcome party for Belize on Wednesday. Come and join. Come and join the digital welcome party. Because one of the things that we are going to be doing in Belize with our initiation process is allowing ourselves to feel the energy of the warrior, the energy of the queen, the energy of the lover, the energy of the sorceress, the parts of ourselves that we as women usually try to shut down and deny. So that is going to be magical. And Goddess Giovanna, you will be there as well. Yay. Goddess Nita says, Belize, I'm already registered. Yes. Goddess Shanita says, I felt no guilt for setting boundaries. Yeah, that is huge and incredible and definitely worthy of salutation. She set boundaries and felt no guilt. How powerful is that by itself? There was a woman on my Twitter this week who said, I just said no for the first time. I forget, it was like something with her boss or something like that. And she was like, and it felt like a drug. She's like, I just said no for the first time. You know, so many of us have boundary issues. And so that is huge and tremendous and worthy of celebration, feeling no guilt for setting boundaries. And why should you? Because all this is you. It's your one wild and precious life. And you get to say in this beautiful dance of co-creation, how you want to move forward, who deserves to come behind the velvet ropes, right? Good morning, Goddess Tammy. Goddess Tammy is here. Okay, yes, 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 yes. And so we begin in celebration. We begin in celebration. And that is definitely one of the ways that we have been our own worst enemy. And so if you have, an area in your life right now where you are not fully showing up for yourself, which is okay, right? We got to just name it, to claim it, name it, and work on it. What is an area where you could have room for improvement, as they used to say in school? Room for improvement. Areas where you could be showing up for yourself a little bit better. Is it procrastination? Is it self-sabotage? Is it holding back when you know that you should be moving forward? Is it making your no's yeses and your yeses no's? Having very strong yeses and very strong no's, and having the clarity between the difference is very important. Very, very important. Goddess Shanita says, right. Yes. So where have you been holding back in your life? Let's talk about that, because we want to talk about how to get out of your own way, how to stop being your own worst enemy, and the stories that we tell ourselves. All of our lives at this point are the result of the stories that we have put together and the stories that we believe about ourselves. And so that's why they say, whether you think you can or think you can't, you are absolutely right, right? If you believe that you can do it, you're right. You believe that you can't do it, you're right. It is up to you. And so it comes down at the root of it to what we really believe about ourselves and what we believe ourselves to be capable of. And as sure as people are addicted to drugs or, alcohol or other substances, we get addicted to our own stories and our own psychodramas and our own, issues. And so we all have these, in psychology, they call them attachments, right? And so you could be looking at something and be like, well, why am I saying that I want, this healthy body, but I'm not working out? Why am I not doing it? And the issue is not that on the surface, yeah, you want to work out. On the surface, yeah, you want to be healthy. But underneath the surface, you have a story about it that you are addicted to. You have a story that you've been telling yourself. It's the reason why you won't, you keep in relationship with the unhealthy relationship, or you won't invest in, the course, or you won't, show up for yourself and just say, hey, I didn't like when you said this or you did that, because we have a story underneath, a story that we are addicted to, a story about how we are less than, or a story about how we will be unlovable if we do whatever it is, right? A story about how maybe we'll be disloyal to who, your family has been if you are suddenly healthy and happy and joyful and successful and rich and all of these things. We have a story about how we will be found out and flushed out as a fraud because we are not really that person. We're really that little girl that was sitting there, being abandoned by your mother or your father, or being talked down to by the people around you. And we have that stuff. That's the stuff we have to address. And we often stay at the surface level and try to fix what's up here, right? Like, okay, well, I'll make more to-do lists and I'll, try to stick better to my routine. And we beat ourselves up at the surface level when all it takes is coming down here and uprooting that stuff, right? Uprooting that stuff. Because if you think about like weeds in a garden, you don't have to, I grew up with both of my parents have green thumbs. I do not, but they do, right? And the weeds in the garden, they didn't have to do anything to the weeds to grow. They didn't have to, the flowers and the plants that they wanted, they had to work on those plants, so they're seeding them and they're fertilizing them and they're planting them at the right time, and making sure they have enough sunlight and enough water and all of that stuff. But the weeds are like, you could go ahead with that. Go ahead with that. Take care of all those plants because I am right here. Pull me out. Yep. I got 5 more of me. Me and my boys are back. What? Until we uproot all up. And that's what we have to do with our belief systems, with the stories that we tell ourselves, because the stories are what anchor the beliefs. So it's not just a surface story of, am I enough, right? As deep as that feels, that's still not the surface. The surface of it is the moment when you first decided that you were not enough. It was the moment when you first, little you, little beautiful, precious, gorgeous you, made that decision that you were not enough. And so now when that 4-year-old is setting your fees and your rates, when that 4-year-old is saying, I don't know if I am, I can do that yet. That 4-year-old is saying, don't quit the job yet. That 4-year-old is saying, don't leave the relationship yet, right? That 4-year-old is saying, well, who are you to be happy? That's not who we are. And you got to let that 4-year-old know that, okay, we made some beliefs that worked for us at the time. We did the best that we could with our 4-year-old, 6-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 16-year-old selves. But now we get to make a new belief, and we get to create a story that serves us, a story that is more powerful. And so if you look back and the story that you're telling yourself maybe is a story of, a lot of us have abandonment issues, parental abandonment issues. And so if you look back and it's your mother or your father or your caretaker or whoever raised you, and the story that you created as a 6-year-old was, well, they weren't there because I wasn't good enough. Look back and see what really was the truth. See that it had nothing to do with you. See that they were doing the best that they could, because they inherited some stuff from somebody else. And that's not letting anyone off the hook. It's letting you off the hook. It's letting your life break free of that story and that moment and that conditioning and that day when you decided somehow that you were broken or that you were less than, or that you were only allowed to be this wealthy, or you were only allowed to be this happy, right? Or you're only allowed to feel this much love or be this healthy or whatever it is. Where can you go back and look at, and again, we will be doing this, in a very deep way, both in Belize and actually, yes, in the Spiritpreneur Guru Accelerator. So all my peeps who are here, Goddess Giovanna, all my peeps who are here in the room, Goddess Keisha, we will be doing this as a part of the Spiritpreneur Guru Accelerator. And so someone might say, well, but Abiola, that's a spiritual business program. So why would you do it there? And here's the reason, because how we do anything is how we do everything. How we do anything is what? How we do everything, right? Goddess Allison is in that program too, yes. So we will be doing it in that program. And the reason why, when we are, again, we're creating our courses, we're putting ourselves out there, like Goddess Diana, who did her first broadcast, yes. And all of that stuff, the skills and the strategy, as complex as that sounds, that's the easy part. The challenging part is the 12-year-old you that is standing on the sidelines and going, you're going to put that course up there like that with your name on it? Saying that, wait, you are the expert and you want people to pay you for what? And so, 12-year-old you, with all due love and all due respect, you have to recreate for her the story of what happened. You are reparenting yourself by saying, all right, 12-year-old you, like for me, like I have like this memory of being, choking basically in front of like I think it was like the 4th grade storytelling contest where I prepared my story and I rehearsed my story and I knew my story and I got up there and I was like, if I do the story the way that I rehearsed it with my parents, I'm going to seem extra. I'm going to seem like I'm doing too much. I'm going to seem like, who does she think she is? Who am I to show up so big and bright and glorious? Who am I to stand here and feel so powerful in front of the fourth grade class? Who am I to do more than, the teacher said, memorize up to page 3 today, and I'm up to page 10. Who am I to do that? Right? And so at that moment, I made a decision about, okay, it is not good to outshine the people around you. It is not good to, feel proud and pride about what you're doing. And so then you've got to shrink. You got to hold yourself back. Right? And so letting that 12-year-old know, or however old you are at that point, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, know that there were other stories behind that. Right? So getting beneath that story. Is it the story of feeling, okay, well, abandonment? Is it the story of feeling unlovable? Like, okay, here's another place where I could be abandoned potentially, and another place where I could be unlovable potentially, right? And so you have to go back and root that stuff up. Otherwise, like I said, the weeds in the garden that are sitting there going, go on, do all that fertilizing. I'll be here. All right, go ahead. I see that flower. That looks good. I'll be here. Go back and refertilize by restoring yourself, putting some respect and some love on yourself and your personal history. Not by putting on blinders or trying to pretend that it didn't happen, but looking back and saying, okay, you know what? I never addressed this in this way because I felt like, okay, if I speak on this thing, that I'm going to be betraying my parents or my family or whomever. But this is what happened to me. And this made me feel broken. And as a result, I was unable to be who I needed to be for me in this place. But now as an adult, you get to do it over. Yes, Goddess Melissa said, no more shrinking. Goddess Keisha said, this is so timely, thanks. Yes, Goddess Mish says she needs to have a seat in the back pew. Yes, all those, 12-year-olds who are showing up to the negotiation, the 12-year-olds who are writing up your sales pages, the 12-year-olds who are saying to your boss, yeah, sure, I can do it. I'll take on some more, although I'm doing all of this and that person isn't. Sure, yes. That 12-year-old who is saying, if I don't do this, I won't be loved. That 12-year-old who is saying, if I set my rates this way, I won't be loved. That 12-year-old who is saying, if I show up in my fullness, in my glory, I will be called out for being a fraud or an imposter because how dare I? How dare I? And so the way to show that 12-year-old love is not by staying stuck in the story, which is what we think, right? We think on a conscious level that the way to honor, to love, to respect ourselves is to continue to bask in the drama and the fear and the issues that we were brought up with, the issues that we were steeped in. And so fear of rejection, right? All of our control dramas, all of those things are addictions. They are addictions as powerful as any addiction to any drug or substance or issue. We are addicted to that drama, and we see it reinforced. For example, that's why people have like horrible Thanksgivings or whatever, because you go and there is the melting pot of your stuff. And you can look around the room at your family and say, okay, there's a source of my self-hatred. That's nice. Oh, there's a source of my procrastination. Oh, that's lovely. There's a source of me undercharging myself. Oh, that's good. Good to see you. How you doing, Auntie undercharging? It's all there. But you healing yourself and making a different choice does not disrespect your family or your ancestors. It does not mean that you are being disloyal to the tribe at all. It is actually the opposite, the complete opposite. When you heal yourself, you heal a part of them. You heal those who came before and those who came after, right? As Dr. Maya Angelou said, I come as one, but I stand as 10 1,000. You healing yourself, looking at, my sisters who I've never had a chance to physically hug, Goddess Diana and Goddess Keisha, are an ocean away. They're on the other side of the Atlantic. But when they step into their healing, they're opening a space for all of us. When I step into my healing, it opens a space for all of us. We are all parts of the whole. It's like a hologram, right? There is, I love the beautiful way that the author Gary, the author of The Seed of the Soul, describes it, that we are all within the soul. We're all within the soul together. How beautiful is that? And so your healing, and they may not get it. I'm not saying they're going to be like, oh, well, that's great that you're successful. Thank you so much. That heals me and gives me permission. They may not ever see it. They may not ever see it, right? They may feel like, my cousin who I've spoken about on this conversation called me the B word just because I was living my happy little life. And actually, let me not shrink my life with the words. I was living my happy, grand, and marvelous, wild, and precious life, right? And did nothing to him. And he said, basically, who do you think you are? You're a B, for being me. So they may not ever see it, but that doesn't matter. That's not your job to make anybody else see it. Your job is to show up as the best you that you can. Your job is to reparent yourself from a place of love and grace and acceptance. Your job is to love up on those who want to be loved up on, right? Last night, I don't know if y'all saw it, but Iyanla Fix My Life, and I'm going to do a separate video on this. She said, I'm not going to fight anybody for their own healing. I'm not going to fight anybody for their own healing. And so often we do that in families and in friend groups. We are fighting each other for our healing. We think, okay, well, I've got to show them this. I've got to show them the value of the path that I'm on in order for it to be worthy. You don't have to show anybody anything. As a matter of fact, let me take it Queens on you. You don't got to show nobody nothing. You don't got to show nobody nothing. You just have to show yourself the grace, the love, the respect, the honor, to know that you are divinely made. You are on a path. You can't expect them to understand it fully when maybe you don't even understand it fully. And that is okay. That is okay. That's all you have to see. That's the next step on the staircase, right? You don't have to see the whole staircase, just the step. Like, okay, I'll see that step. There's that step. It's lit up. Let me take that step and let the next one appear. Take that step, let the next one appear. Take that step, let the next one appear, and go back and offer that little girl or little boy or little person the healing and love that the well-meaning folks who did the best that they could to raise you, go back and heal it. Go back and heal it. And by healing that, you heal them, whether they see it or not. And how beautiful, how magical, how precious that is. Yes? Yes! Okay, good. We are going to be working a lot on this in the coming weeks because we want to shed all of this stuff, right? So we're going into springtime in the hemisphere that I live in, right? We're going into springtime, which is where things are springing up, things are growing, new energy. And we want to fulfill the promises that just a couple of months ago you made for yourself, the things that you said you wanted in your life. This is your breakthrough year. I am committed to that for you. This is your breakthrough year. But to quote Mama Iyanla, I'm not going to fight nobody for their healing. And so the way you embrace it is to begin to go back to the beginning of where those feelings came up. And you don't stay stuck there. Let me see. Special notice. Let me say this. And feel free to share this conversation if there are people on your timeline that you think can benefit from it. Share this conversation. Give me a thumbs up and a like so that we can keep it coming. You don't go back and stay there. You don't go back and stay stuck. You go back, you heal little you, and then you get to come back here as an adult who now has a choice. When you were a child, you didn't have a choice. You didn't have a choice, right? And so they say that our childhood, your personality is what you develop to make it out of childhood alive. I'm going to say that again. Your personality was developed. It was the way what you developed as a way to make it out of your childhood alive. Well, here you are, alive. You have breath in you. And how magical and majestic. Now, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with your one wild and precious life? Let's talk about it. All right, my loves. So we will continue this conversation in our Facebook Goddess group. If you are not there with us, feel free to join us at imanifestmagic.com, imanifestmagic.com, and join me Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Goddess Pray Love Belize. Our Belize welcome party, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to see if I can get one of our healers who will be joining us on the Belize retreat in the summer solstice in June 2018 to join us on that call. All right. And if you want more information about the Goddess Pray Love Belize retreat, head over to goddesspraylove.com. All right, my loves, no more shrinking, no more hiding. Be seen, be heard, be an incredible movement because you already are a blessing. Namaste. Yay!